on Beals, and I am the Chief Education Officer for the Center for Urban Excellence. This evening, we have a great presentation, the second in our fall series, and it is from no other than an organization that is Vallejo-based under the leadership of Cameron Clark. Mr. Clark is the founding executive director of the Developing Organizing Visions for Everyone with the acronym of D.O.V.E. It's a nonprofit organization to assist formerly incarcerated individuals to successfully reenter society by providing appropriate case management and supportive services. He was born and raised in Compton, California. Cameron is one of 4 boys. The early age he joined a gang and ultimately changed the course of his life. At the age of 15, he was given a 16-year life sentence as a result of gang violence. During his sentence at the California State Prison, Cameron was able to take advantage of rehabilitative opportunities and classes where he received a business completion and was part of an innovative group of 50 former lifers to become drug and alcohol counselors credentialed by the California Alcohol and Drug Addiction Counselors Organization. While still incarcerated, he became a mentor and counseled other inmates about gang addictions and drugs. After serving 19 years in prison, he was released and participated in the Governor Jerry Brown's realignment initiative that reallocated funding to community-based organizations for treatment, job training, and housing opportunities. He later became a residential service manager for the Community Housing Partnership. And while he fought for the bandbox proposition, sorry about that, I was just letting someone in, which removed "Are you convicted?" question from employment applications. That's pretty awesome. Presently, he is a program manager at the East Bay Asian Local Development Corporation, ensuring that economically low-income residents attain their housing. Cameron also says that you are the solution to the problem that exists in the world. He is strongly committed to giving back to the community that he once was so selfishly took from. He has received numerous accolades and certificates since his release and is featured in a highly acclaimed, officially selected in a 6 documentary film festival across the United States called The 50. He is currently a Vallejo resident with his fiancee, Cassandra, and loves spending much of his time with his sons and enjoys fishing. Usually I don't read all of the bios, but Mr. Clark, this was so impressive. We are privileged to have you here with us this evening, and hopefully all of the participants will glean from all of your life experience and the great work that you are doing in the Vallejo community. So we'll turn it over to you now.
Thank you so much. In hearing you talk about the bio, a lot of things came to mind, a lot of feelings came to mind, and I just want to let everybody know that the word D.O.V.E. is an acronym. When I used to be a part of the gang thing, that's what my ex-homeboys called me. They called me D.O.V.E. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to give that curse back as a blessing. And so the acronym D.O.V.E. came about with developing organizing visions for everyone. At a very early age, I was working out of somebody else's vision, and I was trying to follow that vision. And that vision ultimately got me incarcerated at a very young age, and got me a life sentence. And it took a long time for me to get to a place in my life to where I wanted to be Cameron. You know, my mother named me Cameron, my grandmother, my family, and everybody knows me as Cameron. I'm Cameron. But because of not having that strong family structure, I gravitated towards the streets. And, you know, what we call homeboys and homegirls aren't necessarily that. We try to create our own families of choice. And sometimes that leads us down the wrong roads. And so today, what I want to talk about is our organization. And our organization, like I said, is developing organizing visions for everyone. And what we primarily deal with is formerly incarcerated individuals that's coming home from prison. And we also deal with at-risk teens and young adults that's currently in the court system fighting for their lives. We take them right out of the courts and we provide them with prevention programming, and we make sure that we provide the judge with progress reports so that the judge can determine whether or not he's going to incarcerate or if he's going to allow them to continue with the program. Um, I'm blessed to say that we have 18 young people in college right now that had gun charges, that had drug charges, that was involved with this street thing. I really believe that if our youth were educated and had people to look up to, mentors to, really bring their problems to, we can help them to develop a vision for themselves. And so this slide right here is going to talk or let everybody know a little bit about what we do. And so let me go along with the slide. And so this is our mission statement. The D.O.V.E, developing organized visions for everyone. Our mission is to re-educate individuals about the consequences of gangs, groups, cliques, or crews, participation, and the effect that is an effect that it has in our community, and support with effective programming those re-entering into society. And those that are at risk of incarceration. I want a lot of people know that, a lot of young people say, well, I'm not in a gang, I'm not a Crip, or I'm not a Blood. The government has redefined the word gang, and it's two or more individuals. So it can be you and your mother, it can be you and your brother, it can be you and a basketball player, it can be somebody from your church, all depending on the type of activities that you're engaged in, you can be considered a gang. You don't have to be affiliated with this group or that group or whatever else. It all depends on who you're with, who you're associated with, and the types of activities that you guys get involved in. So this is a picture of gang addiction prevention, which is one of the curriculums that we have in that we also provide youth. And if you look at the picture, this is the biopsychosocial development model. A lot of times we go through things, or our parents go through things that has an effect on us even before we're born, and that goes into our development. And from that, the other picture depicts where the man is pointing at the sun. A lot of times our teachers is our first teachers is our parents. So we learn how to socialize, and our outlook on the world is predicated off what we learn at home, and then you have that social orientation. That third piece right there, where the little guy is being given a gun. A lot of times and this is based mostly off my story. My mother was an alcoholic, and whatever she put into her body went into the development of me in her womb. And I grew up in a very abusive household, so that some of the things that I heard when I was in the household had a major effect on how I approached the world. We often hear things such as, you're not to speak unless spoken to, or you're not to be seen, only heard, or blood is thicker than water, don't trust the police. And as a result of that, and growing up in that type of environment, the way I thought and the way I approached life was very different than the average person. And then because of what I didn't have and at home, I went out into the streets and I was socialized by what I call my so-called homeboys. And they gave me this curriculum right here is a piece that anybody can relate to, but it's so profound that it gives an individual an opportunity to look back at the roots. Because a lot of this stuff starts even before we're born, and we blame ourselves for it, and It's don't blame yourself for some of the things that you've been through. Don't blame yourself for, some of the mishaps that you might have had in your life. I would love to be able to give this curriculum to whomever at whatever time. I'm available. Call me, let me know if we have the participants that's available for it. We can go through this. But enough of that. One of the things that I want to be able to do is to re-educate individuals on what life is, how it should be approached, your role as a young person in this community. I want to be able to motivate you. I'm not mad at the anger or the frustration that you may have. We just need to refocus that towards something positive, and we'll get the same results. It takes energy to do something negative. It also takes some energy to do something positive as well. But that positivity is going to get you a long way. I'm here to advocate for you. I understand what you got going on and what you and some of the things that you might not even want to share because of the complexities that we go through as young people. But it's okay. So ultimately, what I want to do is to create an opportunity and community again. The young people are disconnected from the older people. They don't have no respect for them and things like that. But yeah, so an overview of the program is develop and organizing visions for everyone, provides case management services. I talked about that for individuals. I'm going to give you an example of that instead of just reading this. A lot of our parents, our mothers, our brothers, our uncles, our sisters, they come home, from prison, and they're welcome back into the community, and there's not a whole lot that we can grasp for because we don't know of the resources that exist in the community. So one of the things that our organization do is that we make sure first and foremost that you have your identification docs. What is that? That's your California ID. If you need a social security card, we make sure that you receive that. The second thing is to get some money in your pocket. What do you qualify for? Is it GA? Is it VA? Is it what? What do you qualify financially for, so that we can make sure that you got some funds in your pocket? Medical, whether it's Medi-Cal, Medicaid, VA. What do you qualify for medically, so that we can get you some health insurance? That's one thing that we also pride ourselves into. Another thing is, if you're interested in going back to school, we have academic counselors that'll help you with grants in order to get you back into school so that you can handle your business and do what you need to do, job training and placement. We also have this for our young people as well. People that are, like this summer, a lot of young people didn't have anything to do. So they just loitered around the city, then have nothing to do. And so therefore, we wanted to make sure that we worked with them in order to get them some type of job experience and things like that, some type of summer jobs, or to get them focused on being productive in the community. Let me see, go over this. We also pride ourselves in standing in the gap for at-risk individuals. If you need somebody to go to your school and speak to your teachers, you get what I'm saying? If there's something that you're dealing with that you really need help with, we're there for you. All, this these slides are kind of like messing me up in a sense, because I would rather talk to you versus reading something off of a screen. And I would rather
Whatever you're comfortable with, Mr. Clark, whatever
yeah,
you're comfortable
yeah,
with.
I would rather do it that way. I would like to be engaged with the community that's here, for anybody to ask questions, or about my life, or about the organization, or about anything that might be on their minds. I can answer
Mhm.
those questions
Okay. Did you
because
have some statistics you wanted to share?
yeah, I do have some statistics that I want to share. Let me get to the statistics. Approximately 1.4 million active street, OMG, and prison gang members, comprising more than 33,000 gangs, are criminally active within all 50 U.S. states, this District of Columbia, and in Puerto Rico. So now these gangs are like family oriented. Nobody never wakes up in the morning to say, I want to be a gang member. We supplement things for what we don't have. If you don't have that brother there, and you're living in a single parent household, and you may have a friend down the street that's cool or whatever else, then we tend to click up with that because we're social people. And I really want you guys to understand that, like I was saying earlier, a gang isn't a gang. A gang isn't what we all think a gang is. It doesn't have to have an elaborate name on it. It doesn't have to have a thing that's established between people. It doesn't have to be any of that. A gang is two or more individuals, and all depending on what you're engaged in, would consider yourself to be a gang. Gang membership continues to expand throughout communities nationwide as gangs evolve, adapt to new threats, and form new associations. Gang-related crime and violence is increasing as gangs employ violence and intimidation to control their territory and illicit operations. Gang members are migrating from urban areas to suburban areas, rural communities to new members to exploit new members, expand their drug distributions territories, form new alliances and collaborations with rival gangs and criminal organizations for profit and influence. Local neighborhood hybrid and female gang members is on the rise as well. Prison gang members who exert control over many street gang members often engage in crime and violence upon their return to the community. A lot of these gangs come from the prison system back into the community to create these hybrids. And it's crazy. And I'm seeing it where I'm living at right now. Like historically, there ain't no gangs here in Vallejo. I mean, you have cliques and groups of individuals that claim a particular something. But a lot of the prison gangs that I was incarcerated with, I'm now seeing in the community because a lot of older individuals from the community, the ones that we need to help, the ones that I'm trying to get back on track, because if you don't know that the resources exist in the community and you come back home to nothing, there's nothing to invest in. And so you bring a lot of the mentality that you received or you developed in the pen or in the penitentiary, and you bring that back home. And guess who's being influenced by that? Their little nephews, the little brothers, the neighbors, and things like that. And in our culture, unfortunately, we see it as a big thing for a person to be incarcerated and then come home. We almost celebrate the fact that this individual has been in there, he's done whatever he's done, and he's back to the community. And we have young people that look up to that, and it shouldn't be that way. And they bring these gangs back into the community. So here's some other statistics from the Bureau of Justice. It says at least 95% of all state prisoners will be released from prison at some point. Nearly 80% will be released to parole supervision. At year's end, 2002, it says 1,440,000 prisoners were under the jurisdiction of the state and federal corrections authorities. In 2001, about 592,000 state prison inmates were released to the community after spending time in prison. And one of the things that I've been dealing with is we've been doing mobile showers with Vallejo Together. And the mobile showers, we go into the community and we give homeless individuals an opportunity to wash up, to change their clothes, to get some food or whatever else. And I'm often there asking them, like, are you on parole or probation? And believe it or not, like 80% of our homeless population are on parole, coming from prison, and they have nowhere to go to. And the thing about it is that they're paroling these individuals back to the county homeless, and they cannot benefit from the homeless projects that's taking place unless they're 90 days homeless. And so me being incarcerated for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 1 year, it makes no difference. When they're giving me an opportunity to parole and not parole, and I come back to the city, they're paroling us directly to the streets of Vallejo or to Solano County. And that is crazy. We talk about recidivism. If you don't give an individual help or a leg to stand on. When they come home and they're reintegrating back into the community, they resort back to the things that they were doing before they became incarcerated. And that's where the recidivism rate comes from. They start to sell drugs again. They start to break into cars or to houses, or, people do what they need to do in order to eat and stay alive out here. Nearly 33% of state prison releases in 1999. That's just a statistic for 99, were drug offenders. 25% were violent offenders, and 31% were property offenders. And then most of the people that parole to our county is not from our county. They're from Oakland. They're from San Francisco. They're from different places. They come out here, they commit a crime, and then as a result of them committing the crime in the city, they parole them back to the city of commitment. And they might not even be from here, but they have to remain out here in order to satisfy their parole. And so our organization is beginning to help individuals relocate back to their cities of commitment by finding the resources that exist out there for them and getting them successfully transferred back out. It says 670,169 adults were under state parole supervision at year end. 2002. This is by the end of the 2016 states had abolished discriminatory releases from prison by a parole board for all offenders. And they're closing 4 prisons right now. They're about to close 4 prisons. So that means that we're going to have an uptake of either homeless individuals or individuals that have been released from prison early. This year, beginning this year, early next year. And that's 4 prisons that's shutting down. They no longer had a capacity to hold as many, they don't financially have the capacity to hold as many prisoners as they did beforehand. They had a culture of shipping prisoners out to other states and making sure that the prisoners do their time, but they're no longer doing that. And so let me look back at this. Our philosophy at D.O.V.E, we believe that giving adequate and tailored support to those who believe that there is no other way, we can change the way individuals approach life and engage in healthy activities and drive towards positivity versus negativity. D.O.V.E embraces and undertakes the following practices, which is our prevention and our education. That's one of the main things. I was talking to an organization yesterday, and they were only interested in individuals that was already involved in the lifestyle, young people. And I wanted to, and I asked them, I said, well, there's no preventative measures that your organization takes before they get to the point to where they start to, get out here in the streets and just do what they're going to do. And they said, no, we only want them when they're active. And I'm like, okay, which really doesn't make sense to me. Don't come get me once I start shooting. Come get me when I'm looking for an answer before I pick up the gun. And that's the thing. We have to be able to be preemptive and intentional in what we're doing. And let me get back to the slide. So advocacy, we advocate on the behalf of those who have experienced the challenges of establishing a foundation by creating trusting relationships and providing services that would address the needs of our clients. I was at a school recently speaking, and it was just one little girl that she was sitting in the back by herself. Everybody else was engaged. She was engaged, but in her own little way. And at the end of the presentation, she walked up to me. She thanked me for the presentation, and I gave her my card. And I told her, I said, hey, if you ever need anything, let me know. I got a call from her 1 o'clock in the morning. And I said, where are you at? And she told me where she was, and I went to go pick her up and see about her. And she told me that, she had been taken advantage of by her stepfather, and that, this was continual. And that her mother knew about it. And I told her, I said, listen, I'm a mandated reporter. We're going to have to report this, and I said, what made you call me? And she said, just hearing your story, you know, uh, just hearing your story made me feel like you understood what I was going through. And a lot of times I tell people that's incarcerated that we are an answer to a problem that exists in the world. We are the answer. We become we become PhDs in this life that we're living as a result of being through what we've been through. And it's going to take people like us to be able to get at other people like us to, create a situation of healing, or at least the first step in that direction, and yeah, it's a trip. But let me see what else I got on this PowerPoint, because this PowerPoint is something else. Our
This
solution
is
is
all great information.
yeah, yeah, thank you. It's Four Corners Project. We case manage employment, education, and training support, financial management using FDIC's money, smart for young people and adults, and the housing support. And so, you know, um, I know that there's young people here, and I know that there's young people that's listening to me. I'm so excited to be a part of this and to tell you about this. My mind is racing everywhere, and I'm pausing and I'm stopping and I'm jumping topics because I know your ears are listening, and I wish that I had a program, or I wish that I had somebody that really just gave me the time of day to sit down with me and talk to me and try to provide me with a vision. First and foremost, I want to congratulate everybody that's part of the program, that's tuned in tonight, that's listening to this presentation and other presentations that you guys will see in the future, and for being a part of the process. This is humongous. This is huge. And, you could be just like anybody else, sitting out in the community, smoking a blunt, drinking, and thinking that is cool. And that's not cool. That's just taken away from your life. And being able to sit across from your computer or your phone right now to listen to an alternative to all that madness that's happening out there in the street is huge. I commend you guys for that. I commend you guys for that. Now, listen, I was 15 years old when I became incarcerated. And I want you to understand something: 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. You seen that? All of those fingers. I lost my whole life thinking that shit was cool, and it's not. It may be appealing for the moment. It may be a little exciting, even. But when it all boils down, ain't nobody going to come see you. Your mother and your family is going to be the ones that's concerned about you. All of that other stuff is nonsense. So I commend you guys for tuning in and being a part of the process and listening, you know. And I would love to meet any one of you guys. So I saw a hand up. Your hand was up.
That was actually me clapping because that
Oh,
was
okay.
good. That was a great motivator and inspiration to our young people that are on this call,
Yeah.
because they should be commended for being present tonight and being part of the program that the Center for Urban Excellence is providing, because there's so many alternatives out there for our young people to choose, and they're choosing to be here tonight. And you have just
That's right.
gifted us with some seeds that
Yeah.
will, be fruitful for all of us and the young people that we continue to encourage in the work that we do. I do
Yeah.
want to know just a time check that we do just have a few moments left. So I want to allow for that engagement. If anybody has any questions or comments or any other offerings that you would like to add to your presentation this evening, Mr. Clark.
Fuller.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Clark? So how can we get in touch with you should any of our participants need to reach out or are system involved in any way and need support, how can they get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me with Cameron at dovebayarea.org. Cameron at dovebayarea.org. Now, oh my goodness. That's how they can get in contact with me with Cameron at dovebayarea.org. Um, I would love to give a whole different presentation. I would like to sign back up and make this presentation much more focused, because I really believe that what I want to say to them specifically, because I'm talking about the organization, and the organization is cool or whatnot as far as adults are concerned. I want to specifically talk to them. You get what I'm saying? And I want to let them know and give them some real insights about this incarceration thing. I know that this is workforce development. I know that this is something to keep them focused and free on the streets and motivated for change and things like that. But I want to be able to provide them with a different perspective as far as what it is to be a young person in the juvenile or in the system. You get what I'm saying? Some of the things that take place with us, some of the losses, some of the things that I've been through as a young person, because this thing is not to be taken lightly. And so I would love to speak with you offline
Mhm.
and talk to you about that opportunity.
Yeah, Raina Robinson is our executive
Yeah,
director,
I'll
and
talk to
she's here also. And we definitely would invite you to come back at any time and share your life lessons and journey with our young folks, not only
you.
on a workforce, but through some of the other events and engagements that we have with our students
Yeah,
and their families and their families.
yeah,
So we'll definitely be taking you up on that.
yeah. Talking about organizational stuff was one thing, but being able to just talk to the participants, to the young people, one on one, meeting them on their level and getting at them like that is what I do. Um,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Personally, is what I do, and so thank you for having me.
Well, we have been blessed. Sorry about that. Let me just stop sharing for a quick second.
Okay,
And this offering was very important, timely, and very valuable. And so we appreciate and applaud your journey and your accomplishments greatly. And I know that you're an asset to not only the city of Vallejo, but the Bay Area, because I'm sure your reach is very far, not just within the zip code of Vallejo.
most
So,
definitely.
uh, if anyone has any questions, oh, the trailer for the 50 is in the chat. I think there is a viewing coming up that you all will be invited to.
Tomorrow.
Um, Tomorrow, yes, plug. And make sure that you reach out to us and make if you need tickets or anything like that. Raina is taking that list up. And I'm just checking the chat to see if there's any other things. Yes, Raina says let her know if you need tickets. Um, the QR code is on the screen. If you'd like to get in touch with Dr. or Mr. Clark directly, please put that in the survey and we'll direct that information to you. Um, and if there aren't any questions or anything like that, again, this was so appreciated, Mr. Clark. And we will definitely be calendaring you for another talk.
Thank you.
And not only a talk, but motivation and inspiration. So um, did you have any parting words that you'd like to leave us with?
Um, no, I'm excited for the kids. I'm
Okay.
very excited that they're here and they're moving forward and they're open to learn and listen, and everybody's not in that that mode right now as young people. And for you guys to be here today and taking it all in, I'm excited for you. And I hope to meet some of you guys tomorrow at the screening and just in life in general. And that's about it.
Okay. All right. Well, you all, thank you once again for participating in the Workforce Wednesdays. We will be here same time, same place next week, Wednesday. Again, thank you, Mr. Clark and the D.O.V.E Project of Vallejo for being our gifted presenter tonight. And with no other things, you all have a blessed evening. So thank you. Good night.